After experiencing a shocking event that could only be a dream to most girls her age, Inge Sargent's fairy tale life hit the rocks when her Prince Charming was forcefully taken away. Many women may never survive this type of ill fate, for even her life and that of her children were on the line. So how did she survive her fairy tale turned tragedy? And why was a movie about this love story banned by the authorities in Indo-Chinese country? Early years of Inge Eberhard. Inge Eberhard was her name before she got married. Born in Austria on 23 February 1932, Inge was the daughter of a gamekeeper. The truth about Inge is that she's from very humble beginnings. Around the time of her birth, her country was annexed by the Nazis, and her mother was arrested on 3 different occasions. But in between the hard times and societal struggle of her time, Inge was a very bright girl. By the time of World War II, Inge had decided to study in the United States, and she was accepted into the Colorado Women's College. While she was in the university, she crossed paths with an interesting young man from Burma. He was Asian, with a rather gentle personality, who was also an engineering student in Colorado. This young man's name was Sao Seng, and he was studying at the Colorado School of Mines. The two met for the first time at a party for international students, and it didn't take long for them to fall for each other. Sao seemed like an ordinary guy with a charmingly gentle personality, and Inge was really into him. They started hanging out often, and friends started to notice their closeness. Every moment spent with Sao was a special experience for Inge. He was a man of vast knowledge who engaged Inge in conversations that sparked her interests about life. But of course, the whole feeling of passionate interest for the other wasn't exclusive to Inge. Sao was already falling for this fair woman, who was just as interesting as he was. And as you'd expect, it was only a matter of time before they both decided to take things further. After all, it was evident they were in love with each other, and Sao couldn't wait to take his bride home. The union of a lifetime. Their union was a very special one, as they were the very first interracial couple in the city. Their wedding wasn't exactly an extravagant affair, as the two exchanged vows at the house of a friend. And it didn't matter much to Inge because all she cared about was being with the man she loved. After the wedding, they both decided it was time to visit Sao's hometown. Inge had never been to Burma before, and she was eager to visit as it meant she could learn about her husband's roots and also explore a new culture. But little did she know what she was about to discover would completely change her life forever. Sao had given Inge minimal details about his family. All she knew was that he was the son of a Burman official, and some people even advised against taking the trip because it was unfamiliar territory to her, and there were some dark rumors about the place. Still, the couple set out for Burma after their graduation. Upon arrival at the coast of Burma, Inge could see a large crowd expectantly waiting with flowers in their hands. Looking at her husband, she remarked about the size of the crowd, thinking they must be arriving at the same time with an important guest, whom she presumed they must be waiting to receive. That was when she discovered she was the important guest, as her husband's true identity was royalty. Sao was the crown prince of the Shan Sipao kingdom, and he had left home for the US to study. He kept his royalty a secret because he needed a woman who would love him truly and not because he was royalty. The couple received a beautiful and flowery welcome as the people saw their future queen for the first time. All potential brides selected by the royal household could no longer be considered, as the prince already returned a married man. Inge felt a lot of things at the same time. She was confused, shocked, happy, and short of words. It was an unbelievable experience for her. Who would have ever imagined she would come to identify with royalty and enjoy its privileges? Inge had left the US as an ordinary European, but that night, she went to bed as a princess, ordained a new world. Inge warmed up to her new life quite well as the days passed and she learned about her new life as a princess. The couple had another wedding ceremony, as was the custom of the Shan Sipao people. This time, they were joined in proper royal manner, and Inge received the title of Mahadevi, which meant heavenly patroness. The wedding was totally different from what they had done in the US, and this time, there was a massive feast of traditional and exotic dishes, with the best of wine provided for the hundreds of guests who were in attendance. Settling in Burma, the prince took up active roles in reshaping the situation of the Myanmar economy for the better. Agricultural reform was one of the things he actively worked on, as he provided new insight that helped farmers do better with their farms. After the death of his father, Sao became king and Inge, the queen consort. Inge's position as the queen consort was one she used judiciously to help society, embarking on huge philanthropic projects that elevated the living standards of her people. the people found it easy to love her as her kind heart was undeniably true. Inge had two beautiful daughters, Kanari and Mayuri, who brought much joy to their home. King Sao and Queen Inge were very much loved by their kingdom, and even their love life continued to flourish, until the day it all fell apart. The fairy tale life Inge had been living was about to be replaced with a mind-shattering reality. The end of a fairy tale. It was a coup d'etat that changed everything for the royal lovers. Burma was experiencing political unrest, and one day the king was taken away from his beloved queen, while Sao was taken hostage by enemies. His wife and two children were placed under house arrest. Inge couldn't communicate with her husband all through that period, as the house arrest lasted for 2 years. Not knowing what had happened to Sao, Inge started to plan her escape from Burma. She needed to be able to leave the country with her children, but they were undocumented and could not be easily allowed into the US or Europe. And so, Inge tried very hard to find a way out, until one day she found help with an Austrian official who helped her forge documents for her children so they could all leave the country. In all these times, Inge never forgot her husband, but she had no way of knowing where he was or even speaking to him. The fairy tale life changed so fast as a new reality had come upon her and the kids. Now, they were on the run, and they mustn't be caught. Luck was on their side, as they successfully crossed the border and left Burma behind to begin a new life. First, they settled in Austria, but the racist remarks against her children became so unbearable, she decided to move to the US. In the US, she worked as a German language teacher, and soon found another man and remarried. But before that happened, Inge wrote countless times to the Burman government, hoping to find information regarding her husband. But one day, she finally received a response that caused her pain. Her husband had been shot upon trying to escape from captivity several years prior, and he didn't survive the incident. It took some time, but Inge eventually moved on after grieving her loss. Today, her two daughters are beautiful women who tell their mother's story and support her life's work. They work for the Burmese Support Foundation, which was set up to assist Burmese migrants and others back home to find opportunities, support, and live a better life. Inge wrote a book and made a film, both titled Twilight Over Burma. The works are, however, prohibited from being read or watched by citizens, as it is a grave offense to do so, punishable by imprisonment. Even after her sorrowful ordeal, Inge didn't neglect her promise and devotion to supporting the citizens of Burma. Her second husband was a huge support to her, as he encouraged her to find the strength to write her book and make her movie. Inge passed away in February 2023 in Colorado, at the age of 90. Now, her daughters carry on her legacy as the last Mahadevi princesses. Before the end, Inge lived a fulfilling life dedicated to helping her late husband's people and keeping her promise to them as their queen. She is indeed a heroine to be forever remembered. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more stories like this.